What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy.
What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here. And even though we don't have an offensive coordinator locked in just yet, I walked away really impressive with the forward-thinking thought process that Aaron Glenn has when it comes to his coaching staff as a whole, but specifically for his offensive coordinator role. You look at Kubiak, you look at Nick Caley, you look at Jerrod Johnson, who we'll chat about today, as potential finalists for this offensive coordinator position, and considering what's happening around the league, OCs moving up, OCs moving around, etc., right? And for example, Liam Cohen going to the Saints opens something up, and then you have the recent firing of Bobby Slowick with the Texans. Who knows how things play out? And so I think it's really smart that he's not hitching his wagon to just his top preferred option. He's also building a pretty deep roster of guys that you feel really comfortable with selecting, whether that's the third best guy, whether it's the fifth best guy. He seems like he's targeting a ton of rising coaches. They may not have the most amount of experience, but these guys have been excelling in their roles for some time now. So according to Dylan Delgado, Gerrod Johnson may be a finalist target for the OC role, right? And I've seen reports as early as about 2 or 3 days ago that this may be the case here. So one of the intriguing things, and there's a whole X Factor article that's kind of chatting about this as well, is that Aaron Glenn isn't just relying on relationships here. He seems to be largely in tune with guys, whether it's position coaches, whether it is OCs, whether it's guys just kind of turning into coming into the NFL ranks from college, etc. He seems to be in the know about who are guys that are going to be, rapid movers in the coaching ranks based on the work that they're putting in. And so I really appreciate that, because it sucks talking about having to give, a guy a third opportunity, or somebody that used to be a really hot name in the coaching cycle that's kind of fallen off, and he just feels like he's really been surviving. So with Gerrod Johnson, you don't get that. He's very much so in the rising, coach category for the New York Jets here. He spent about 5 years in the league so far. He's been with the Texans for 2. He's learned under Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings as his assistant quarterback coach. And then he spent 2 to 3 years with the Colts, working his way up from offensive assistant and quality coach to his current position as quarterbacks coach. So one, you love the minds, right? Kevin O'Connell being there as one of the mainstays, and then of course being a part of a turnaround unit as well with the Texans. And it's always tough to kind of be delegated not only just a new position, but you also have a new regime, and on top of that you're throwing in a rookie QB. But he's really made the most of what he's done. I think a very admirable piece of his resume is that he's gotten to work with somebody like Kirk Cousins, and he's gotten to do it with CJ Stroud, an established veteran, a rookie quarterback. And so you kind of get the best of both worlds, understanding his relationship with potentially someone like an Aaron Rodgers if you want him to stay, as well as somebody like a Jordan Travis or a rookie who's still trying to figure out the league and get their footing in the door, right? And nothing speaks better to the job he's been able to pull off with a rookie than joining Tom Brady and Joe Montana as the only quarterbacks in the last 50 years to lead the NFL in pass yards per game and touchdown to interception ratio. And I think he has something like 28 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, something along those lines. So he's done really, really well for himself. Other teams have recognized it, especially after that rookie year with Stroud, where you had the potential for him to interview with guys like the Saints and the Bucks before deciding to return to the Texans here. So, but keep in mind, before the miracle of Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury, CJ Stroud and Gerrod Johnson was the creme la creme of the league, right? This was the relationship every team would ascribe to being able to build, and the outcome that you would have expected to see. So we aren't talking about a guy that's just kind of barely flashing. And even though there was a bit of a step back this year, I think you look specifically as the offensive line as really the Achilles heel for that Texans offense that still was able to make the playoffs, because their left guard position was just an absolute nightmare. It literally destroyed game plans, the scheme, had CJ Stroud running for his life week in and week out. It's really a miracle they've been able to have as much success as they could behind it. So I don't put a ton of blame on Slowick, who got fired. I don't put a ton of blame on Gerrod Johnson. And considering that he's a candidate not only to take over the OC position for the Texans, but a finalist for us, I think speaks volumes to the fact that there are some other issues within that roster construction that led to some of the downplay in performance there for them. And then one of the other intriguing pieces here to wrap this up, and this is just my brain potentially working in overdrive here, but you look at Darren Muji, former QB, you look at Jerrod Johnson, former QB, and I'm intrigued by the kind of conversations we could have where you could almost put together a committee if you have another name or two with specific QB experience in there, right? We would still need to hire a QB coach. You could formulate one of the better plans in the NFL, in my mind, for what you want to do at our position. Are we keeping Aaron Rodgers? Are we letting him go? Jordan Travis, what do you want to do there? Is he a long-term backup? Do you have plans on him potentially developing into a quarterback of the future? Do you want to dip into this draft class, or do you prefer to save and or add resources to attack the 2026 NFL draft? And, of course, free agency, right? Do you want to supplement this room depending on what you're doing with the Aaron Rodgers, which we almost have to do, in my opinion, one way or the other. But there's a lot of question marks here, and I think guys that have had the experience, they understand all of the pain points, they understand what can make somebody successful out of the gate. That is a huge advantage for a team like the New York Jets to have. So, again, maybe forward thinking by Aaron Glenn, maybe this is just a random thought in my mind, and it's not necessarily how we envision bringing a staff together and marrying, front office to coaching staff. But let me know what you guys think. Gerrod Johnson, and by the way, he, as far as I know, doesn't have any connection other than them both being from Texas A&M. But with that said, let me know what you guys think about Gerrod Johnson as potentially the next offensive coordinator for the New York Jets, and maybe your top three for the offensive coordinator position. And I'll catch you guys again. Peace.